1973, October, the Rolling Stones played the Rotterdam Ahoy. Keith Richards was at his finest. But this is a different story. Today's story takes us in depth into an enigma. That's right. For years, people have been asking for a tour of the studio, the inner sanctum, where it all happens. And today, that dream becomes a reality. Because we say goodbye to Keith, and we move on to the music studio. Let's do a quick tour. By the way, the Keith poster was a gift from Dimitri for Christmas, as was the Lego Booster robot poster. But let's move on. There was also a David Bowie poster, but that one had to come down. So let's do a quick tour of the music room. So here is the inner closet. We've got the Swore Badger 18 playing through a Bogner Ecstasy cabinet with a Weber Blue Dog, turned around backwards so I can play it louder. The hand-built Swart Space Tone Junior, which is of course like a 1953 Fender Tweed Deluxe. And then the Mesa Boogie Mark 525 going into two separate 1x12 cabinets, each one with a vintage Celestion in them. Now, let's look up here. You might notice that the top shelf pedals are actually not my top shelf pedals at all. Those are the pedals that are for sale. But they're worth looking at. So, of course, we've got a looper, full tone tremolo, line 6 DL6, a phaser, digital delay, and then of course the Memory Man Hazurai. We have a Memory Man, we have an electric chorus, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the Depths, an original vintage SD1, Dynacomp compressor, full drive 2, and a Stigtronics clone, a big Muff V6, vintage of course. A lot of tubes, extra tubes, and up here we've got the old Carbon 100-watt mixer. These are the pedals. The Strymon Flint, Eventide Space, Eventide Time Factor, Micro Flanger, Carbon Copy, the fantastic Digivive 2, Whammy M-Drive, Distortron, GS124, Jetter Dumble Pedal, EP Boosters, Evex Fuzz Factory, Musket, Boxer Rock, Dan Electro, Octavia, Plimsoll, original vintage TS9, Morning Glory, RC Booster, and a Keeley 4-knob compressor, Ego compressor, and a Timmy. Alright, let's move on with our exciting tour. And we'll step over here. We have the Bose L1 portable PA system, and then which brings us over to the delectable Mojave Coyote, again hand built by Victor Mason for me out in California, non-master volume amp with one Celestion Alnico Blue and one Celestion Ceramic and a matching 2x12 cab, and of course the TS808. And now our light source, because the curtain is propped up. Now down here we have the guitars. We have the 1973 hardtail Fender Strat, which I have owned since 1974. Recently switched out with a Lindy Fralin pickguard, vintage pups, and a little bit higher gain pup in the bridge. But those are split blades, so I don't worry about 60 cycle hum anymore when I play, depending on what venue I play. Here in the background, we have the absolutely venerable and delectable 63 Strat with a 71 neck. So it's all original, beautiful. The body has been refinished, which is a blessing and a curse. Blessing because the guy that did it was in touch with Fender step by step, so it's absolutely immaculate. Curse because, of course, it's worth a lot less looking beautiful than it did when it looked like a piece of crap. But that's okay. And finally, in our Guitar Hall of Fame, is my brand new, for 340 bucks, my brand new PRS SE Custom 24. Sounds amazing. Which brings us over to the pedal board. So let's check this out. So the pedal board is actually a lot more simple than it appears to be. So we go into the line 6 G50 relay, and from the G50 relay we go into this JHS buffered splitter. One channel goes out to the Polytune Mini, which goes over to the Mojave Coyote amp, and that's, right now I only use that for looping. That amp is amazing, but it's got to be really, really loud to work the way it should work. The other channel, or the other output jack, goes into the Jerry Cantrell wah-wah. By the way, the other output jack from the G50 relay goes to the Polytune Mini. So back from the Jerry Cantrell wah-wah, we go into the Tumnus Deluxe Clone. And the OCD just went on the pedal board today. I haven't even used it yet. Normally there would be the vintage TS9 sitting right in that spot. And then we go over to the Vic Audio 73 Rams head, which of course hand-built, replica or clone of David Gilmour's 73 Rams head. From there we go over to the 1973, sorry I've got it unplugged because it's battery powered, 1973 MXR phase script phaser. From there we go over to the volume pedal, and the volume pedal is real specific. It's when at the end of a song I'm usually getting crazy feedback, and when we go 1, 2, 3 stop, I can just hit the volume pedal. That's somewhere in my slippers. I can hit the volume pedal and stop everything. But notice the volume pedal is pre-Analog Man ARDX20 dual delay, and that's for a couple reasons. One, when I can also use this volume pedal, of course, for swells and so forth, but when I do that, the trails, or the delay trails, keep going, which is a nice effect. The other really important point is that I have a buffer at the very beginning of the system, and then I have that analog delay as a buffer, which is really important if you're going to use this Ernie Ball VP Junior, because it sucks tone. So out of the ARDX20 delay, I run over to my full tone TruePath ABY, and I've got one channel going to the sewer and one channel going to the Mark 525. This, of course, is the switcher for the Mark 525, so I can use that to go to the lead channel or to the rhythm channel. This expression pedal is hooked up to the ARDX20 so that it adjusts the delays. And of course the freeze is also connected to the ADRX20, which in the loop of the ARDX20, which is amazing because I can actually hit something on the delay and then turn on the freeze and just get this amazing drone that I can play over. It's sort of like playing with a keyboard, maybe. It's incredible. Now, if I were playing live, this system would be a lot different, right? I'd be going from my amp wirelessly into the line 6 G50 relay. The tuner would still be there on the second output, but I would go from the relay straight into the wah-wah, into the Tumnus OCD 73 Rams head, into the phaser, into the volume pedal, back to the analog delay. The freeze would not be there, and the analog delay would go straight out to one of the amps, unless for some reason I was using dual amps, and then I'd have something to take me into dual amps. I also have the Strymon Flint, which is tremolo and reverb but I'm not using that right now since my Boogie has plenty of natural reverb. And that's our tour for today. Thanks so much for coming by. We've enjoyed having you.